Hello, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie. I'm Long Island's eating disorder specialist, and I post on this channel all about eating disorders, body image issues, and general mental health. So if any of that is interesting to you, or you think you might be able to find it helpful, definitely click the subscribe button down below. And if at the end you found the video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Today I wanted to talk to you about body image and starting school. These two things are so intertwined, and I know it's so difficult whether you are starting school and you are just struggling with body image, or if maybe you have felt like your body had changed and you really don't like the way that it changed. And there's a lot of anxiety that comes back with going to school. And to be really honest, we are in a unique position in 2020. If you're watching this in the future, then maybe this will hopefully this isn't going to apply to you. But at this moment in time, a lot of people in the US, a lot of students had to terminate the rest of their school year for their well, actually, no matter what school year you were, pretty much I believe every college and every school had shut down and everything was online. So when it comes to anxiety, let's say if you have anxiety around body image, when we give into the anxiety or don't expose ourselves to whatever it is that's making us anxious, it allows space for the anxiety to grow. And where this ties into this is that if you have anxiety around body image, probably for a few months you have not been able to see your peers, you have not seen fellow students, your friends, and maybe you just haven't been exposed so much to the outside world in public. So you kind of grew into this little comfort zone, this little cocoon. Maybe your body had changed, maybe it didn't. Maybe you're mentally thinking that it had changed, but it actually didn't. Whatever the circumstances might be, you are in a unique situation given from every other year that not only do you just have to go through summer without seeing your peers, it was significantly more, which is very, very unnatural for our culture. So if this is you, and if you are experiencing increased anxiety as a result of your body image and going back to school, then this video is going to be really helpful for you. One recommendation that I have is what I've talked about in the past is fake it till you make it. I know everyone thinks this is some like woo self-help type of thing when it's, or maybe people have distaste for it. However, it really is actually a therapeutic tool. Therapeutically, we usually call it acting as if, but most commonly people know it as fake it till you make it. It's the same thing. So I'm going to use fake it till you make it for the extent of this conversation. So when I say fake it till you make it, I really want you to think about what it would be if you had positive body image. Maybe you might look at a person who you find as a role model, as an example. What do they exude, and when you think that they have positive body image, or when you think that maybe they exude confidence? So what types of emotions do they seem to have? What do you think they have? What types of posture do they have? What types of facial expressions do they have? And you're basically then going to mimic that. And I know that might sound a little weird. However, that's just really using a role model as an example. When it comes to changing our behaviors or changing thoughts that we have, it is a little bit more difficult to change our thoughts and our emotions as it would be to change your behavior, because a behavior is more of a tangible thing. So when we are able to change a behavior, for example, in this is changing the behavior around exuding confidence, you are going to go out improving your posture or smiling more, or whatever it is that you deem to be an example of positive body image. That is a behavior. And when we are more able to step into that behavior, then our brains start to register it, and that helps to change our thought process, our belief system, and therefore our emotions. So that's how that works. Also, it's about cognitive dissonance. We don't like when we have two conflicting stories in our head. So normally we will try to merge them together to make sense of it. Our brains just do that naturally because that's how we make sense of the world. So if we have two conflicting things, that our body is saying that we're positive, but our brains are saying that we're not, we are ugly, or we have poor body image, or whatever the circumstances might be, your brain's going to try to make sense of that. And if you really try to take it by the reins and use that exuding confidence to help you through that process, it's going to be positive for you. And this is something I know it's difficult to do. However, and you're not going to be perfect at it, and that's okay. but really staying consistent and persistent with that as best as you can is going to be really helpful. So if you haven't started school yet, or if you are just starting, this is a time to really work on it. I would encourage you to work on it outside of school so that it's a little easier for you, especially when that anxiety spikes when you're in school, to be able to adopt that mentality. Pardon the interruption. I just wanted to remind you that if you haven't yet done so, go ahead and subscribe to my email list using the link in the description below. What you'll get there is your free recovery starter kit. My intention when I created this was to make sure I was versatile. So whether or not you are at the beginning, the very beginning of your recovery journey, I truly believe you'll find it helpful, just as helpful as if you are looking for motivation to reinvigorate that journey for you. Another component of this that I think is so important to touch upon is that I know that a lot of times with my clients who are students, that there's this fear that everyone's judging them. Everyone's thinking that, wow, that person gained a little weight from last year. Oh, wow, that person really let themselves go. The thing is that while we cannot say that judgment doesn't exist, because we are judgmental creatures, we all do it, and it's not something that's ever going to change, because that's how we judge the world, that's how we live in the world, and that's okay. However, the thing is that we are fearful that people judge us, like people like go home and start, thinking about us and thinking that we are let ourselves go. They're judging us constantly all day long. That's just not reality. I mean, we all think that, and that's exactly why that isn't reality, because we're all in our own reality show, especially students. That's a very natural thing when you're an adolescent or a young adult. However, it's very easy to think that everyone's thinking about you. And that is not the case, because everyone's thinking so much more about themselves. So worst case scenario, someone might pass you in the halls and have a fleeting thought about you. And let's just face it, you'll probably never know about it. And if that's the case, really, who cares? I know it's easier said than done, but that's a mentality, and that's a question I want you to actually ask yourself. And then let's say if they actually do judge you, or they do express it to you, you need to understand that people's judgments are actually projections. Happy people who are confident and have good body image, they're not going to tear another person down. That's just not in their nature, because it just doesn't make sense. Because why would a person do that? So you really need to understand that when people judge you or are hurtful towards you, that is actually a projection of their own beliefs and their own thoughts and their own securities, and it really has very little, if anything, to do with you. I don't want to overwhelm you anymore. I would really encourage you to adopt the fake it till you make it while you're starting school, and stay consistent with it, stay persistent with it, and over time it'll be really natural for you, and therefore it's no longer faking it. So I want you to work on that, as well as really checking the fear of people's judgment of you, as we had talked about, realizing that people aren't really judging you in the way that you think they are, and that there are projections. So these are the types of things that I really want you to be thinking when you're starting school this year, and just know that it's going to be okay. You will get through it, just like you have done it every year. And it's something that I know it's a little bit more anxiety provoking this year. However, I hope that you use my channel as a resource. I have a lot of videos that could be helpful for someone who especially is a student, and going through just different things in the world of a student, whether that's anxiety, whether that is bullying and such like that. So peruse my channel, see what videos might be helpful for you, and definitely use them, and ask me questions if you have any. Leave a comment down below if you are going to be using these tools this year. Have you ever used them before? Let me know. You could click my face in the corner of the screen to subscribe to my channel, and I wish you a wonderful school year on your journey to finding your state of balance.